Hey, my name is Chad. On this channel we like to make stuff, and we are back today in the home shop, taking a little break from what's going on out at Shady Acres to do an unboxing and assembly of my brand new SawStop PCS. Now if you're a woodworker or a tool person in general, then SawStop is a brand that's not unfamiliar to you. But if this is the first time you've ever heard of this brand, know that it is a safety feature that saves fingers and hands for decades now. Now the safety feature operates similar to the technology of the touchscreen on your smartphone. So whenever skin or something with the right moisture content comes into contact with the spinning blade, then nearly instantly, the blade is stopped and dropped. And that speed is like 5 milliseconds, which is faster than a blink of an eye. There are tons of testimonies out there from people who have had near bad accidents but got away with just a minor scrape, and I went ahead and pulled together a few just to highlight those. Because I got vibration, my thumb went right into the blade, just right there. So, like I say, it shut down, and I backed away from the saw, and I looked at my finger, I'm bleeding. So, it's not too bad. It's, if I can show you here, it's, it's like took a little bit of my skin off and a little bit of my nail, but it's not too bad, just a band-aid fixed it. It's a lot better than going to the emergency room, so. That's it. Keep your hand away from the left side of the blade. Don't be dumb like me. You get complacent.
Yeah, SawStop, because this finger here a couple years ago I stuck it in a saw. Now I just turned the saw off. The blade was still I thought it was stopped. I wasn't looking. I thought I turned the saw off. It was still rolling. And when I grabbed the wood, I heard this thunk, and I didn't feel anything. And this blade is actually it stopped. It didn't cut. Well, it cut my finger. It put a little tiny nick in it on the end of my finger instead of cutting it off. Now that is pretty cool. Had my other saw, it probably would have done some real damage to it. So anyways, thank you, SawStops.
Well, years and years of doing carpentry work, building furniture, building houses, everything you can imagine. I still got all my fingers, but today I run this fingertip through that saw blade, and it's a SawStop blade. If you see down in there, it jammed that thing in there and stopped it. Saved me from losing a fingertip. Pretty freaking amazing.
Here is the famous hot dog test used to demonstrate this feature.
Okay, so we have our sacrificial hot dog here, fresh and ready to go. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to simulate an accident. I'm going to cut this board in this hot dog at a much more rapid speed than you're probably going to be cutting boards traditionally, but accidents don't happen in slow motion. So I really want to do kind of a real world scenario here on how this actually prevents an accident. So I'm quickly going to fire up the saw, and keep your eye on that saw blade and that hot dog, because you won't believe your eyes.
All right, let's do it. $60.
If you can see that, there's barely a nick on that hot dog. You might need a band-aid.
So by now, hopefully you can see the benefit and basically the insurance policy you're getting with a SawStop. Now a SawStop is a very good saw by itself, even without the safety feature. So that's one thing that a lot of people have a concern with. Am I buying just the safety feature and getting a okay saw, or am I actually getting a really good saw? Well, the fact is you're getting a really good saw. In fact, I can vouch for this. I've used it quite a few times, and it's finally time that I got one of my own. So let's go over what exactly I got here. This is the SawStop. By the way, it's crooked because it's on a skateboard. I don't have a regular cart or a dolly to move this around. By itself, just the SawStop body is, I believe it's 329 pounds, not to mention the packaging. But I've got the actual SawStop body. This is the PCS 175, which means it's the 1.75 horsepower PCS. Again, that's professional cabinet saw. It's got a 10-inch blade. So this is the PCS 175. This is just the body here on this pallet. I could have gone bigger with the 2 horsepower or 3 horsepower. I could also got the ICS, which was the industrial cabinet saw. Of course, you know, the cost goes up with every level, but this is the saw that I can run on 110 power, and that's what I wanted to stick with. In the future, if I want to upgrade the motor, I can do that, but I'm gonna have to get 210 power, and also there are some other upgrades I could do if I grow into them. So I got the SawStop body. What else did I get? As standard, I got the 36. No, that's the extension. Yes, I got the 36-inch extension table. That's kind of the table that goes out from the side to give you more workspace. I got the 36-inch rails, which are right here. That all comes standard, I do believe. And then as an add-on, I got the upgraded T-glide fence. I got the industrial mobile base for the SawStop, because I'm gonna have to be moving this around quite a bit. This is the last of my workspace in my shop. I think a lot of times if I'm gonna be using this, I'm gonna have to be pushing it out onto the driveway to feed a whole sheet of plywood through, for example. What else did I get? I got the Folding Outfeed Table, which is a table that comes off the back, which supports basically anything that goes out beyond the back of the blade as I feed it through. So like a sheet of plywood is going to go all the way out and be supported as I finish the cut. I also got, not here, is the overhead dust collection arm. I'm not going to be using that until I get into my new shop, which is yet to be built out at Shady Acres. So I've got that stored out there. I'm not going to be using any dust collection while here in the shop. So let me get into the other little bits. I got a spare brake cartridge. This is the actual device that does the saw blade stopping. You'll see that aluminum block here. That's the thing that fires into the blade, and the blade digs into that and stops it. I also got a dado stack set. That's the thing that cuts dados, which are basically if you wanted to put a groove into wood and make it so it can receive like another piece of wood, like in a shelf situation or making a box. It just cuts a wider path through your material. With that, you also needed the clearance insert. This is the piece that the blade comes up through the table through. And then I've got, what's necessary is a specific cartridge for the dado stack. So I have two different cartridges that I got, in addition to the one that actually comes with the SawStop itself. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is dig into the mobile base, and then we're going to cut the box open for the actual SawStop. I'm going to need some help. I might need to call the neighbor over. Yeah, we'll just have to play that by ear, because I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to do that by myself. 329 pounds. I might, but if I'm smart, then I'll get some help. Gonna need a little space to work, so I'm gonna have to roll my SawStop case out into the driveway so I can open up this mobile base. Alright, so with the mobile base in its package, it's important to store flat with this side up, because a hydraulic jack inside only shipped to store this package with this side facing up, or fluid leakage may occur. So it's a very important thing to keep note of if you are happening to receive this in shipping, or you're picking it up from a retailer, that this has been stored and shipped flat like you see it here. Alright, so this is actually pretty interesting. It comes with a little read me first. It says, if you are having trouble with your hydraulic pump, that means it was probably stored or shipped improperly, as in not flat, as I just told you about. And it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to solve the problem that where it may have gotten air bubbles in the hydraulic system of the jack. Alright, I'm going to quickly browse the instructions here. It says it's the industrial mobile base for both the industrial cabinet saws and the professional cabinet saws, which we have here. So if you are a customer of the industrial, you also use the same system. Okay, so I stand corrected. The ICS and PCS are not the same system for the mobile base, but the only difference is like the placement of the support strap. So I got the one for the PCS. The ICS is going to be a little different, and it talks about it right here. It just says that the support strap is a little different. Then it talks about how to place the saw in the mobile base, and let's see, I will read that off camera, and then it just talks about how the mobile base is used, how the different pumps or the foot pedals work, and it should all be pretty self-explanatory. I will go through all that if I need to, but yeah, just basic set of instructions. Alright then, so it talks about how to place a saw in the mobile base. These are the hold down straps. They actually screw into the saw body. This is the back, this is the front, so I don't know if I want to place, I think I want to have the saw facing this way, front to back. Okay, so it says place the hold down strap in the back as far back as it'll go, and the front one as far forward as it goes. It says I require 4 people to lift the saw onto the body. I could probably get away with 2, so that's going to have to wait until I get some assistance. But yeah, so this is the front with the foot pump here, and this is the back. So the saw is going to sit here all the way touching the back of the front bracket. Well, it's just me right now, so I'm probably not going to, or shouldn't be putting the SawStop body on the mobile base, but in the meantime I can open this thing up. Alright, there's a cut line down here that I'm supposed to cut along all the way around and lift the top off, and it should have a nice SawStop waiting for me. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got here on first reveal. Right off the bat, I noticed I've got the table saw hardware pack, and it's got some tools with it. It's got a set of keys. You can lock this down so it can't be used. Got a pull tab to remove hardware pack. And I got a phone call. Alright, anyway, so yeah, it looks like I got a little pull tab to remove hardware pack. And it just rips off, so I guess I'll have to be a little more creative with that. This whole piece comes out. Looks like that's like a dust shroud or something. It's got the package contents. It shows how it was packed in there, which will give me a hint on how to unpack it. Let's see. I mean, yeah, it's got these support cardboard support beams. Here's the cast iron top. That's where most of that weight comes from. Okay, looks like we got some components here. You got the wheel with the crank that you bring your saw blade up and down and set the bevel angle. Got some wrenches here for removing your saw blade. Let's see. I don't know. I might be able to set it up without it already being assembled and assemble it right on that cart. So let's see how that goes. This is very heavy. Whatever is it? Must be part of the top. Put it right here. Yeah, real heavy. Whew. That had to be 80 pounds or so. Alright, this is the front right here. So I think I can probably just tip the whole thing forward onto the cart. Go ahead and twist the whole thing around. That's the front. Okay, and if I turn the mobile base, so the front is facing that way, front is facing that way, in theory I should just be able to tip the whole thing right onto it. Then I got this plastic covering. It's going to present some challenge. Alright guys, I'm determined now to get this done by myself. If nothing more than just to prove that it can be done. So I got the cast iron top and the motor all right inside here. Putting all the weight right here, and literally like maybe 5% of the weight is here. Alright, that's on. I did it. Well, it's hot here and I'm sweaty, and that was some work, but I just proved that it can be done solo, and it's probably a different story if it's already assembled and you buy the base later. You're gonna need some friends, that's for sure. So let's talk about what we're seeing here. Of course, the cast iron is covered in this some kind of paper, and it is well, it's greasy because that's how you pack untreated steel, so it doesn't get all rusty, especially in this humid weather, or if it gets a little bit of rain on it. So this is going to have to be cleaned off, ideally with like some WD-40 or something like that, and then it needs to get treated with some product like T9 or something. Here's the cast iron top on my bandsaw. You can see it's got some corrosion right here. Doesn't hurt anything as far as the quality of the surface, but it's just ugly, and you do want to stay on top of that so the rust doesn't take off and start eating away all the metal. I'm not going to peel this paper off just now until I'm ready to clean it, but we're all plastic wrapped in here. We've got oh, look at this. We've got some hardware here that's going to go on the straps here to bolt the actual saw to the base. We got a dust hose that's going to connect to the dust port here. Got a lot of grease on the moving parts. Here's of course the motor. We're strapped in here. This is going to be the control unit that's going to get mounted on the outside here. So that's where you actually turn the thing on. Yeah, looks like we got some protective cardboard and zip ties that we're gonna have to cut off. Yeah, it looks like there's nothing left in the actual crate. We've just got components here, more components here. Looks like the dust shield or the blade guard. Then of course you've got the tools we've already pointed out, and then this is the shroud that's going to cover up the motor. Because this motor, when it's up, is actually going to be sticking out here. So that shroud is going to go here and cover everything here and make it all look all nice and finished, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and dig into this. So if I were to open up the instructions with the packing list on it, it says how to stand up your saw, and there's also a little call out box that says if you have the professional cabinet saw mobile base, install it now. So I should have done that while it was actually on its side, and then I could just stand it up and you know, land on the ground just like that on the wheels. But either way, it worked out. Nothing's broken, nothing scratched or dented. Okay guys, I was just putting my SawStop together, and I've been distracted for the past couple hours because just then was the moment when they tried to assassinate Donald Trump, so I've been quite distracted from this little task. So anyway, I guess that kind of gives you some real-time perspective as to when this is happening, because you yourself know where you are at that moment when that happened. So here we are. Thank goodness though, Donald Trump is still alive. Very unfortunate though that at least one other person aside from the suspected assassin has lost their life. I'm sure I think there's some another injury at least out there too, but sorry, didn't mean to divert this video, but I'm going to get back into this and see how far I can get this evening. As you can see, sun's already low. It's very very cool, very much cooler now. So let me get to work on this thing. So at this time I'm gonna go ahead and screw the base to the actual SawStop here. You get these little washers and you get these 1/4 inch self-tapping screws. So I'm gonna drill right into the metal body, into this little tab that's on a little hinge. Okay, so it's critical not to over tighten these. You just want to get them right in there snug. There it goes. That's all there is to that. And now for the other one, same deal. There it goes. And now that's all there is to it. We are attached to the base. Gotta get these zip ties off. There we go, that's one. There we go, that's two. And here we've got the on-off switch and the main power unit and the key. Alright, so I finally found the instruction books. So behind the tool and hardware kit, open this up, and then we've got the book right here. Nice spiral bound book. Ready to look at that and make sure I get the assembly right. Let's finish unpacking this, see what else we got inside this this shroud here. Got the saw blade, comes with the 40 tooth carbide tipped blade. Alright. It's the miter gauge. Comes with a basic one. There are upgrades available that I will probably be getting. This is used for pushing the board along and keeping your hand free of the saw blade. And of course you got the cover itself for the motor. Oh wow. It's still got the tools and hardware on the back here. Okay, done with that. Okay, get all the goodies here. Continuing with the unpackaging. Hope you all like my good workbench. More often than not, I'm using these trash cans as more table space. Alright, so right here we got our blade guard and kickback or anti-kickback device. This goes right on over the blade. And these kind of loosely fit down to the table, keeping you from punching your fingers in here. This thing here, this little shark tooth thing, pushes down and rides along the top of the board that passes through. And if the blade does grab the board and want to shoot it this way, it's got these little teeth in here that are going to dig into the board and prevent that piece of wood, both sides, from firing forward with the kickback of the blade. Alright, so now we got a blade wrench. Okay, we got our first adjustment wheel and crank handle. And the other one, what do we got here? Oh, okay, this is the cast iron wings. There's two of them, and they go on either side of the table to make it wider. We don't need to open these right now. Yeah, so these steel wings bolt on right here and on the other side as well. So this is at least, I don't know, 50-60 pounds times two. And then finally the last thing are these knobs. Not sure what they go to just yet, but we'll find out soon enough. Also there's a second wrench. There's two wrenches. Alright, I was going to wait on this, but why wait? I'm going to go ahead and peel this off. Okay. It's all packing oil to prevent that cast iron top from rusting. best thing to do is use some WD-40 to clean that off and break up the oil. I've got a little bit in this can, so do what I can with what I got. Probably should have wiped off the surface oil first. Nice, clean, new top. Okay, even though I wiped it off, there's still going to be a coat of oil on there, so I want to use that WD-40 to break that up. Really not much left in this can. And it's a good idea once you're done cleaning it off to use some kind of paste wax and put a protective coating on it, because this will rust up really quick with a little bit of moisture. Alright, so this is actually pretty cool the way the instructions are set up. First of all, this book is quite a novel. I haven't gone through the whole thing. It talks about the general unpacking your saw. It talks about the SawStop safety system. Of course, it's got the assembly part, and then it talks about actually setting up your saw as far as, you know, squaring up the blade and the table and whatnot. It talks about the components, and it talks about there's making adjustments and just, you know, how to use it. But right here we've got the assembly, and it goes page by page. Let's see here. Okay, so this is pretty cool the way the hardware placard is set up. You got different colors here. So blue up here in the top left, it says we're going to be working on the blue part first. Then the green part, which is the dust part. Blue part is setting up the adjustment wheels. Then installing the motor cover, which is everything you need in the yellow. And then everything in the pink you need for mounting the extension wings, which are these that go on the edges. Again, that's everything here. And number 7 is mounting the switch box, which I've got just kind of hanging loosely right here, which was all banded up inside. Supposed to remove this prior to even starting, and all the cardboard and whatever else packing material was going on inside. You need everything in the orange for that. Includes the keys there. Mounting the accessory holders, it's everything in the gray. And then it says, congratulations, your saw is now assembled. Let's see what it says on the next page. Okay, get to know your saw, walks you through all the components. And then preparing your saw for use. I don't know if I'll get into that on this video. Talking more about that. Yep. What do we got here? Dust collection. Okay, so using your saw. Tells you how to turn it on, how to set the blade height. Alright, so I'm going to get to setting everything up, and then I'll take a picture or video as that's done. Alright guys, so on mounting the dust cover, I went from the top at first. The directions tell you to go in from the bottom. There's a, of course this is L-shaped, and when you get it all the way seated, it turns in and there's a little lock for that L to go into. But the reason you go in from the bottom is because once you get the leaf on, you'll never need to, or you'll never be able to get the hinge out without taking the table leaf off. So it comes in from the bottom. It's a little challenging if you've got it mounted in your mobile base, because you got to get it down in here to go up, and then you got to manipulate the facing of it to get it past all the framework here. But once it goes in, turns in and locks down into this little recess right here. Alright, so it's time to do the wings, and just like the tabletop, these two will need to be degreased. Same as before with the WD-40 or the like. These are all wrapped in plastic. One time when I was in high school, I worked at a pizza place called Godfather's Pizza, and I discovered that using plastic trash bags actually works good for wiping off oil. So I'm going to go ahead and try the wrap that this thing came in to kind of see if that still works. I don't know, seems like it's just spreading it around. So maybe not the best solution. Maybe it was a actual trash bag that worked best. But I've got a little bit of paper left here. Actually, let's try that with the bubble wrap, because I know this works. See, this is working a lot better actually. Oh yeah. That works great actually. Get that initial grease or oil off of there. See, I knew I had a trick. So the bubble wrap worked, but the other plastic sheet did not work. Okay, so here's the required hardware for the two wings. They come off of the pink section of the tool set. The key thing to note about putting these wings on is that there's a chamfer on the front edge of the table. There's also a chamfer on the front edge of each wing, and only the front edge. So I guess these are identical, but they will fit either left or right as long as the front edge has the chamfer. We're going to attach these table extensions. I'm going to hold the table, and you're going to get under there with 4 bolts and put them in right here, just hand tight, okay?
Okay, now it's...
Okay.
Alright.
Alright, Bennett, so now we got this side on. We're not supposed to tighten it up yet because we're going to use a straight edge to make sure everything is flat and level. So now go ahead and turn the whole thing 180 degrees. Okay. Got it? Thanks for your help, Bennett. You can go play now.
Okay.
Wings are on finger tight with the bolts. We are to use a straight edge to tighten the bolts and level up the wings. You can see there's a pretty good gap from the slack, so we're going to tighten it down and make sure we are level here. So I'm just going to get the 13 millimeter and tighten those down. Alright guys, it's time to mount the switch component to the underside of the table saw. So we're going to mount it right up. Here, let me get a better grip on it. Mount it right up here like so with 2 bolts, and it'll be mounted. Yeah, just like that, it's on. There it goes. Alright. Mounting the accessory holder, gray section, and that is this piece. Goes down here and just clips on through those holes. Figure out what those do later. Then this thing here is what hangs the wrenches with these 2 machine screws, and they're gonna go evidently right here underneath where the power cords come out. And these wrenches again are for the saw blade changing. Alright. That only gets 1 screw, which leaves me with 1 more screw, and that actually goes underneath here. Okay, that's on good and solid, and that concludes all the hardware. So the table saw itself is assembled, but we're not quite done yet. We still have to get the blade on there. We've got the rail system, which is going to be good for the T-Glide fence system and the 36-inch extension table. And we've still got the folding outfeed table, which goes off the back. So, just gonna continue on from there. If you're here just for the table saw assembly, that part is done, but we're going to move on to start adding the accessories. Alright guys, moving on, we're going to get into the fence and rail system with the extension. That's the 36-inch extension. That That's the 36-inch extension. So first thing is we've got 3 boxes to get into. That was one of them. This box has the actual fence, and then the long box has the 2 sets of rails, front and back, and then the bar that the tape measure comes on, and that's what the fence actually rides along. So let's see what came in the box with the fence. First of all, you've got a hardware pack. You've got a user's manual, and you've got not one but 2 different installation guides. One for the contractor saw, which is what we don't have. That's actually like the step down model of this, so we don't need this. So we've got a big colorful fold out sheet to help us get this installation done, front and back. And you've got the fence itself, and you've got some components to assembling the fence. And then yeah, you get a tool. You get this Allen wrench or hex head with the swivel top. I've actually always kind of wanted one of these. So got a nice quality screwdriver there. Another hex wrench, and yeah, well, I guess I'm getting ready to go ahead and install this. Let's talk about what we've got ahead of us. So we're going to install the front rail, followed by the back rail, and then looks like it talks about adding another leaf if we had the 52-inch rail, but we don't. We've got the 36-inch rail. Then we get into the extension table, which is in this box here. It's going to get real tight in this shop, but yeah, I think yeah, it's going to get real tight. Just got to face that fact and work around it, or build the shop around it. And then flip to the other side. We've got the extension table legs, because it's got to support itself. Then we got to add the tube, which has the part that has the tape measure on it. Okay, and then it talks about putting the fence together. So it says 14 steps. So I'm not going to go through every step by step, but I'm going to go ahead and do it and then show it. So now we got the 2 36-inch extension rails on. They're not the same. This one is I guess deeper than this one. So the deeper one goes on the front. That's where the tube is going to go. That tube, which is where the T-glide rail or fence is going to be riding on. Now I have to do the extension table, which is right there. All right, so this is actually step 4 on our instructions. Oh look, more hardware. All right, folks, so I've added a couple components. These are the leg attachment points. And over here on the table, this is the bottom side, there's a little point here that's going to be the hook that goes underneath the table. Now we just need to slip this in. Actually a pretty tight fit. Okay, then it gets leveled, and then we put some hardware into the sides, and then add the legs. All right, got the extension on. So I got quite a bit more workspace. Got the legs. Right now they're off the ground because the wheel system is engaged, but if I lower it, it's set to where the ground height is. It's just a matter of screwing and unscrewing the foot. So fully sturdy, and then if I want to move it, all I got to do is pump it up, and it lifts the whole end off the ground, and I can easily move it. So now we are off to putting together the T-glide system and the final rail. All right, folks, we are on step number 11 of 14, where we put the tube on this thing here, and once again we are packed in oil, so we're gonna have to clean that off. All right, so now that that's cleaned off, it's going to get attached from bolts from underneath into each of these bolt holes, and should be pretty easy. It's been all pretty easy so far. Alright, I got the rail on there. You're not supposed to tighten it down because you're supposed to be able to adjust it, because we still have to square the fence to the blade, or parallel the fence to the blade. So we're now on step, looks like 12. Got this little handle, I can put that on. So step 13, pull the tube as far forward as possible to the front, lock the fence, and then follow the next steps to check the gap between the fence and the front rail. Alright, so the way we're supposed to set this up, again, the bar here is not tight, but we've got the fence locked down to the left end. We're supposed to use a credit card to check to set the gap between the front rail and the gap in the fence here. So I'm going to push this forward. All right, and then we're going to tighten this end, and we're going to do the same thing on the far end, and we should be square. We will check that with the blade and the table, and just make sure we're all square and set up. Credit card. Okay, we can lock it down over here. Well, in theory, you should be square. Let me check it against the edge of this table. Well, we're going to be running off the rail, so that's not going to work. So let's check it off of this edge of the table. Alright, so I brought the fence right up to where the add-on connects to the extension. I didn't take it all the way because I want to see the black mark here. Then it's pretty darn consistent along the whole length of this fence. So with that, we can assume that this and this is square to the table. Ultimately, we will check it for measurement from the fence to the blade, from 2 points of the blade, from the leading and the trailing edge of the blade, to get that final micro adjustment. And at this time, I'm going to lock down the rest of the bolts that are underneath the tube here, and then I think we can move on to the folding outfeed table. Alright guys, so I just cracked open the folding outfeed table box and checked the manual. Guys, there are about 150 parts here, so I am not going to cover that at all in this video. I will bring you back right away for the installation or the mounting and just demonstrate how it works and how it looks. So hold tight, I'm going to be right back after I get this thing assembled. And here you have it, the completed SawStop assembly with the folding outfeed table and 36-inch extension and the T-Glide fence. So this is everything except for the overhead dust collection system that I got, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video is not even going to come into play until I get a building for this. As you can see from the surroundings, is I have a space problem now, and especially now more than ever that I got this thing. So let's talk about this folding outfeed table a little bit. It looks to be about 4 feet, maybe a little longer. Let's get the tape on that. Alright, let's see how long it actually, or how wide it actually is. Alright, looks to be about 44 inches. That's what it is, 44 inches and an extra 32 inches of outfeed, which is going to be great for when I'm breaking down sheet goods or ripping long boards. So let's talk about this just a little bit more. Every component here had to be assembled. Nothing was pre-assembled like in some cases. You even had to put the little dust caps on every little tube here. Bolts, 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here, 2, 1. You know, you're talking about 150 different pieces. The roller, the bearings, the washers, all that. So let's see how it looks as I fold it down. So the legs come up. There's nothing to clip them up. I think I'll probably figure something out on my own about how to make them hold, because if I let them go, they want to flop back down. All right, so got them both held. Oh, something in the way there. There we go. All right, so they come down and they rest against the wheel guards of the mobile base, but I guess all in all it's not in the way. So let's move it around a little bit and see if there's a smarter way to store this in so I can use it on short bits, because otherwise I got to move everything out to the garage if I want to use it. All right, let's jack it up. All right. So the mobile base is an add-on, but it's definitely a must, especially if you're working in a confined shop like I have. All right. All right, folks, there you have it. That was the unboxing and setup of my PCS 175 from SawStop, the industrial mobile base, the T-Glide fence system, and the folding outfeed table, which I didn't get into the setup and assembly, but just know that it was a lot of pieces, about 150 or so, just guessing. But hopefully you found this video useful, and if you want to see more about what this channel is all about, then go check out some of the other videos and see that I'm recovering an abandoned property, and I'm going to be building a structure that is my dream wood shop. It's going to be timber frame, and I'm going to be kicking that off really soon. I've already got the plans approved and ready to go, and I'm already starting to cut timbers for it. So go check out my other videos, and hopefully you like what you see there and think about subscribing. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you are new to the channel and you want to get caught up to everything that's been going on out here at Shady Acres in just one video, then I suggest you start right here. And if you want to dive in from the beginning and see everything that we've ever done out here, then start right here, click it, and just let it play.